William James of Harvard University put it this way: "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." And isn't it wonderful that we have this measure of control? Before we start talking about our attitude toward the world, let's talk about our attitude toward ourselves, since it is the attitude we take toward ourselves which determines our attitude toward the world. Now, right here we come to a rather strange fact. We're so familiar with ourselves, we tend to take ourselves for granted. We tend to minimize the things we can accomplish, the goals we can reach, and for some equally strange reason, believe others can accomplish things in our field which we cannot. There are literally millions of human beings living narrow, darkened, frustrated lives, living defensively, simply because they take a defensive, doubtful attitude toward themselves, and as a result, toward life in general. Many people are suspicious of and oppose change, yet change is the one thing in life on which we can absolutely count. People who stay young all the years of their lives not only welcome change, but see it for what it really is: new opportunity, new chances for further fulfillment. Attitude is a reflection, a result of a person's will. It is incalculably powerful. It can bring about marvelous results for us, but we need to train it patiently, day by day. Now let's talk about the attitudes of people who are successful. The top 5% of the people who go sailing through life from one success to another, and who, even when they fail at something, shrug it off and head right out again. No matter who the person is or what he does, men and women in sales, business executives, people in all the professions, wives and mothers, students, top people in the armed forces, public servants, men and women in the service of religion, working men and women in all fields of endeavor, wherever you find a person doing an outstanding job and getting outstanding results, you will find a person with the right kind of attitude. These people take the attitude toward themselves that they can accomplish what they set out to accomplish, that there's no good reason on earth why they can't be competent, successful. They have a healthy attitude toward themselves and, as a result, toward life and the things they want to accomplish. And because of this, they achieve some remarkable things, and they come to be called successful, outstanding, brilliant, lucky, and a lot of other things. They're quite frequently no more brilliant or outstanding than the majority of the people by whom they're surrounded. But they did develop the right attitude, and they found their accomplishments not too difficult, and many times surprisingly easy, simply because it seems that so few are really trying, really believe in themselves. Successful people come in all shapes and sizes and in widely varying degrees of intelligence, background, and so on. But they all have one thing in common. They expect more good out of life than bad. They expect to succeed more than they fail. If you want something worthwhile, take the attitude that there are a lot more reasons why you can have it than there are that you cannot, and set out to earn it. Go after it, work at it, ask for it, and 9 times out of 10, you'll get it. Our environment is really a mirror of our mental attitude. If we don't like our environment, we have to change our attitude first. Now, the world plays no favorites. It's impersonal. It doesn't care whether we change or not. Adopting a good, healthy attitude toward life doesn't affect the world and the people in it nearly as much as it affects us. It would be impossible to even estimate the number of jobs which have been lost, the number of promotions missed, the number of sales not made, the number of marriages ruined by poor attitudes. But you can number in the millions the jobs which are held but hated, the marriages which are tolerated but unhappy, all because of people who are waiting for the world and others to change toward them, instead of being big enough and wise enough to at least make a test which will prove beyond any shadow of a doubt where most or at least a big part of the trouble lies. Studies made of the lives of literally thousands of successful people have shown that they radiate confidence, assurance, they expect success, and they get success. You can spot these people by the way they walk, by the way they look and act. You can feel it about them when they enter a room. They may be short and fat, or tall and thin, or any combination in between, but they have about them the attitude of success. In the record Greener Pastures, I'll get into this next statement, but right now I want you to realize, if you don't already, that in 5 years or less, you can get right to the top of the work you're now doing. I know this, but the important question here is, do you know this? The minute you do know it, you'll have this right attitude I'm talking about. The easiest and most effective means of forming a good attitude habit is to begin to act as though you have a good, positive, expectant attitude toward life. That's right. Begin right now to walk, act, and look as though you belong to this group. If you're already in the top 5%, you'll know what I mean. If you've never tried it, you'll be amazed at what happens. Actions trigger feelings, just as feelings trigger actions. Now, let me tell you of a little test you can make which will prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that a good attitude can change a person's life as dramatically as walking from a darkened room into the bright, clear light of day. Not long ago, I read a line which went, "Life is dull only to dull people." This is true, but it also could have read, "Life is interesting only to interesting people," or "Life is successful only to successful people." And what I'm trying to say is that you must first become, mentally, from an attitude standpoint, that which you wish to achieve. A famous restaurateur was being interviewed by a reporter who asked, "When did you become successful?" He replied, "I was successful when I was sleeping on park benches, because I knew what I wanted to do and that I would do it." In short, his attitude had been one of success, of expecting success long before the material, the tangible rewards of success had been earned. We'll get into this particular phase of Lead the Field in record number 3, A Worthy Destination. But for now, remember that a person must act, look, and because of these things, feel successful before the success he seeks can come.
So, life could sometimes be somewhat like owning a 200-acre property with 2 lawnmowers. Yeah, you could get it done. But if you do a little investing in yourself, you may save some money in the long run, you know? It might be time to buy a tractor. You feel me? So let's ask ourselves, do we consume or do we produce? There should be a balance. If you're just a person that consumes, if all you do is wake up and go stand in line for a pair of Michael Jordans, how long you stand in line to get some money? Last week we spoke about these idle things. You dig? I want you to know that getting you a duplex, getting you some rental property is a priority over this. This shit cool, it look cool on the gram and all that other shit. But you'll fuck around and be dead broke if you ain't getting no real money. I ain't gotta say no names. We know who was the, you know, stay on your A game. And let's not have a problem learning from others' mistakes. You see a nigga go to prison for doing something, make sure you don't do that. Find a different way to do it. You feel me? Every time you see me, I'm trying something new. You see this? Maybach double M rims. I don't line the rims. Shout out to Freddie, Bowtie South. That's my partner. I don't have a problem with partnering up with other brothers. I don't have a problem partnering up with somebody, with a brother, whoever you are. I don't have that problem. I look at the big picture. So like I said, let's learn from others' mistakes. Let's create, let's produce more. Let's get into production, not just consumption. You know? We support each other. Let's go hard. Y'all know what this is. Hopefully this will inspire you to get some real money. But make sure you invest in rental properties before you get these. That's what impressed me. Tell me where your duplex at. Tell me where your corner store at. So what we're gonna do is set our goals. And we're gonna set them to exactly what we want them to be. We not gonna rush though. Ain't no rush. Keep in mind the heaviest tank on the battlefield always move the slowest. But what we won't do is waste no more time. You done wasted enough time. Because when you're in pursuit of perfection, all your moves should be premeditated. Don't let nothing surprise you. Anticipate it. You gotta put thought into this shit, nigga, if you want to reach greatness, you know what I mean? If you want to do something special, if you want to do something unique, or you could go out there blindfolded like 99% of these motherfuckers do and just wish or hope you get lucky. Fuck luck. Ain't no luck. You know what I'm saying? All muscle, all hustle. As an entrepreneur, rule number one, nobody owes you nothing. I think once you accept that, you begin to move different. That's when you become a leader. Because if you demand a certain level of respect, you demand a certain level of loyalty, it's only gonna come from you showing it and you giving it. A motherfucker being able to come and talk to you about something and it never being repeated. A motherfucker, once that's established, that lasts a lifetime. A homie out there on the horse for the first time, I told him, the trainer that I got, the old Vietnam veteran that I give a side hustle to, gonna have him riding in 15 minutes. You see out there by himself. You dig? It's just like life. We gotta overcome all our fears. What's your fears? You can't swim? This summer learn to swim. What's your fears? You scared of rejection? Fuck it. Face it head on. If they reject me, fuck it. Life ain't over. Bunch of real niggas done been rejected. Bunch of rich niggas done failed. Always remember, real hustlers always bump their head. So if you made a mistake, if you done hit a lick before and lost it all real niggas done did that, man. But who gonna get back up on the fucking horse? On the horse of life. And get that bitch to try. Next thing you know, you in full stride, baby. And I think one of the biggest weaknesses and one of the easiest ones to recognize is if you a lazy motherfucker. If you a lazy motherfucker, whatever position you in, you should accept that with a smile. Cause if it's shit you could be doing and you ain't doing it just because you a lazy motherfucker, I don't have no pity for you. Bitch, you could be sleeping in the dark, hungry than a motherfucker. That's your business. Because if you gonna be a lazy motherfucker, I ain't working for you. You better get up off your ass and get up early in the morning and do that shit. Man, you could be up early in the morning. You could go run 2 fucking miles. You could sweep. You could vacuum. You could do the dishes. You could make breakfast and go do whatever the fuck it is you gotta do. Or you gonna make an excuse. Oh man, my back hurt. Oh man. Man, fuck that shit. Everybody back. Everybody legs. Everybody head hurt. Everybody all that shit. Nobody don't care about that. And if you think in 2018, 2019, so if you a motherfucker who ain't got much for, man, I'm just trying to get me a little extra money. Nigga, you see all these car wash motherfuckers we got coming around here wash your cars? You been supposed to say, hey man, give me a vacuum, let me do this shit. Hey man, let me do this shit. All these beats being sold, all these features being done, all these, you ain't bringing none of that to the table? You better go get a motherfucking brush and brush the horse hair. The fuck is you doing? You ain't offering nothing? Or you just, I'm gonna wait till somebody give it to me. Well, bitch, keep waiting, ho. Be patient, too. Have a lot of patience. Cause this a motherfucker around you like Rose that's pushing itself, recording an album, pushing itself, doing performances, pushing itself on conference calls with the record labels, with management, with franchises, with hair care, with other artists, with producers, and on a motherfucking diet, and want a fucking cheeseburger right now. But guess what? That shit can't overwhelm me. It ain't gonna overwhelm me, cause I ain't gonna let it. I set a pace, set my own pace. You set your own pace. I can't run fast as goddamn that skinny nigga right there, but I'm gonna cross that finish line. And with time comes experience. And with experience, you learn how to deal with things. That's just like me, you know, staying up 5 days at a time. That was really, I always justified it by me chasing my dreams, just really wanting it. But it would be some of the things I used to do to go along with it. I'll talk about that later. But, you know, having a seizure because you're not getting rest and this and that. And I never knew how many people who had seizures till I had one. And motherfuckers would come pull me to the side that I was around a lot of times and I never knew that and say, yo, I know what it, woo, woo, woo. So, you know, that's what comes with experience. Okay, so damn, I really do gotta get sleep. That's why my mom always said, boy, take your ass to sleep. Mine can't. I'm walking around. I'm thinking about this and okay, I do gotta get a little rest. I'm gonna try to get a little bit in. I still don't sleep 8 hours. I may never do that, but I get a little in now. It's time to surround yourself by people that's gonna really push you and inspire you. It's time to surround yourself around people that's gonna challenge you. Gonna challenge your train of thought. Gonna challenge all the simple answers. If we working out, you gotta be with a motherfucker that's gonna go harder than you. A motherfucker that's gonna tell you 100 jumping jacks ain't enough. You know? And that's what apply to the game. And when you do that, you look up. All that other shit come easy. All that shit'll fall in place. You'll have every Ferrari they make, every Porsche they make. You'll have you a stable of horses, trucks, any fucking thing you can imagine. That shit's small once the work get put in. But that's what's gonna separate the boys and men. That's what's gonna separate the kings from the, the mediocre. The amount of work you put in. I think being a successful businessman or boss, I think the first thing you should always do is highlight, recognize your disadvantages or your weaknesses, It's just like if you're on a diet. If you're a motherfucker that's on a diet and trying to become healthier, lose weight, first you gotta acknowledge what my weaknesses are. I know what it is. Cheeseburgers. Every time I see that personal pan pizza, them sodas, you gotta draw a line through that shit and just say, fuck it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to do right. And as the results begin to come, that feeling of accomplishment, that should be worth more than anything that, your taste buds could give you.
So Denver is my home. I'm fourth generation from here. I went to Harrington, then Carson Elementary, then I went to Gove Junior High School when there was a Gove, and then East. And my father went to Denver East. A number of my relatives also went to East, and it was a great school. And it was a school when I was coming through, I had a great group of classmates, and they were actually introducing computers for the first time. And so my computer instructor was telling me about it. I was asking, well, how does this actually work? And was telling me about the transistor. And, it was developed at this place called Bell Labs. And I found out there was one in Colorado. So Denver Bell Labs. And I called them. I said, I'd love to get an internship. Do you have them? They said, yes, if you're between your junior and senior year in college. I said, well, that's great. I'm a junior in high school taking AP classes just like being in college. And they said, well, no, it isn't. And I said, well, I'd love an internship. And so I called every day for 2 weeks. They stopped taking the call after the second day, and I called every Monday for about 5 months. And one day they called back and said a student from MIT didn't show up. We have an extra slot, and if you'd be interested, we're not guaranteeing your job. You can come and interview, because remember, they'd never met me. So I put on the one suit that I owned and put $2 of gas in my car and drove out there and got the job, and basically worked there for the next almost 3.5, 4 years as an intern while I matriculated with my degree at Cornell. I think they appreciated the fact that I really wanted that job, and I really wanted to, better myself. And they did a fabulous job of putting me with wonderful mentors who helped me understand what I call the joy of figuring things out. And that's why we offer in our portfolio companies over 90 internships a year, because I think the intern program is one of the best ways for people to gain experience, and frankly, you get a chance to look at a student or a person who might actually, be a very effective employee or leader or manager sometime. Dynamic that they have to embrace is the pace of change has accelerated. Truly, intellectual property, intellectual capital is now the currency of business, and it is the currency of engagement. The ideas, the thoughts, how free-flowing and how quickly they flow, and the impact that they have in the communities and businesses in which they operate. They're going to have to make sure they have, the facility of their minds have to be, frankly, a lot more accelerated, and also need to understand the impact of what they say can reverberate a lot faster with a lot more force. So I think those are the things they have to be more conscious of. They have to be conscious of, what might be an innocuous tweet in the middle of the night can create massive reverberations for, for other communities on the other side of the world. So those are the things they have to be conscious of. Now I'm addressing the graduate students. So they've kind of already laid their bets as to this is the profession that they want to focus on. And the real question is, how do you make sure you make a change in the world, in your community, leveraging your profession? If you're an engineer, there's certain things you can do. If you're a teacher, there are other things you can do and different things you can do. And I think it's important that I say, you pick a cause and have an effect, as opposed to meander without direction and just kind of glance through different sets of economic opportunities. But pick a cause and make an effect. So be purposeful. That's what I really want the message to be left with these students.
You see the Juice poster,
yeah,
and the OC and the Bob Marley. That was one of my apartments before I got evicted. Because when I came to Miami, in them days I would get evicted like every month. You had to get a new place.
Why? Because you were a party animal? You wouldn't pay your rent?
I couldn't afford it at that time. You know what I'm saying? And only furniture I had was records and my turntables. So I just, I was hustling. I used to make $100 a week, but I ain't never complained ever in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody that knows me, it's a special cloth. When I say that, I mean it for real. Like if I know you, I'm loyal to you in so many different ways, as long as it's respect.
That's right.
and positive. And I never complain. That's why when people complain, I get so mad at them. When I say mad, it's disappointed, because complaining is a setback for you. You should be finding the solution and progress and prosper. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I did my whole life. I worked hard, I'm self-made, and I ain't never stopping. I already made my mind up. I made my mind up about just everything about life, career, happiness, you know what I'm saying? Because, my whole, I don't know how to really say this, but, I've been searching for happiness for a long time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think they happy, but they don't realize what real happiness and joy is. You know what I'm saying? Until you actually find the connection with your heart and your soul. So what happened was the connection connected, because I'm always hustling. I'm always putting anthems out. I'm always going to win, because ain't nobody going to outwork me.
All I do is
That's
win.
right. And I never really discuss these things because I'm self-made. Like I just do my thing. And I've always win. You know what I'm saying? Like I make great music. I hustle and I don't complain. I work my own music. Y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? I got a great team. And what happened was I became a free agent, but I came in a free agent at this time.
Oh my God, the timing of
Like,
the cinch.
bro, that's
You ain't gotta tell me.
That's
bro.
like, let me tell you, all my prayers have been answered. You know what I'm saying? That's why I pray every second, every minute of the day. I want you to know this. I want the world to see this and feel this and hear this. Pray every second, minute when you breathe. Right now, mentally pray while I'm doing this interview. You know what I'm saying? God is the greatest. Man, you don't understand, man. Like, they try to count me out.
The days.
Like how do you try to count me out? And it's impossible, because I've always won. My whole life, I had this vision. And I made sure, Ebro, I never fold. Meaning as in, trust me, there's been times where I could have folded. There's times I never really, I'm getting personal. Like, there's times where I sacrificed my mortgage, my car notes, me sending money to my mother every month, me feeding to pay the studio bill. I put it all on the line. I put it, Rosemary, on my mama. I put it all on the line. The message I'm saying is, don't give up. Never quit. Never surrender. You know what I'm saying? And embrace the blessings, and the blessings gonna pour on you. You know what I'm saying? OGs in the game that I respect, icons, always told me, Khaled, don't chase the money gonna chase you. They're not lying. They not lying. But we do have to chase the money when we hustling, because we have no choice to pay the bills. But you gotta have a mentality to say, yo, do what you gotta do, but don't fold.
Have vision.
Have a vision and pull it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm challenging myself. Don't wait for somebody to challenge you. Don't wait. Challenge yourself.
You watch those nature documentaries on the cable?
Yeah.
You see the one about lions?
Yeah.
Get this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion comes, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him, coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. It's too late to be scared. It's time to kill. I'm going to the other room. You come out when you're ready. Don't beat him. Kick his ass.
Every day I'm hustling, 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 every day.
How to get whatever you want from the Bible. How to get whatever you want. Here's what it says if you're ready. It says, ask. If there's one art in life to learn extremely well, that's got to be one of them. The art of asking. What does ask mean? Ask means, what do you want? See, you've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be a good asker. Now let me give you 3 key points on asking and receiving. This can do it. Number 1, asking is the beginning of receiving. Asking starts a unique process, mental and emotional. I don't even know how it works. All I know is it works. It's like pushing a button and all this machinery starts working. I don't know how. It just works. There's a lot of things you don't need to know how. Just work them. Some people are always studying the roots. Others are picking the fruit. I mean, it depends on what end of it you want in on. Asking is the beginning of receiving, so start the process. Here's number 2. Receiving is not the problem. Receiving is automatic. Now, if that's true, receiving is not the problem, what's the problem? Failure to ask might be one of your major problems. Here's number 3. Receiving is like the ocean. There's plenty. Success is not in short supply. It isn't rationed. and you stepped up to the window and it was all gone. No, no, no. It's like an ocean here. Now, if that's true, what's the problem? Well, some people go to the ocean with a teaspoon. Have you got the picture? See, what you want to do in view of the size of the ocean is trade your teaspoon for at least a bucket. Okay. Now, there's two ways to ask, and we'll wrap up goal setting. Two ways. Here's number one. Ask with intelligence. It didn't say ask intelligently, but I'm sure it meant that. Don't mumble. You don't get anything by mumbling. Be clear. Be specific. Intelligent asking means how wide, how high, how soon, when, what size, what color, how much. Define what you want and describe what you want. That's powerful. Goals become like a magnet. They pull you that direction. And the better you describe them, the more they pull. So ask intelligently. Here's number two. Ask with faith. That's the childish part of the equation. Believe you can get what you want like a child. Not an adult. Adults are too skeptical. So the formula really reads, make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child. And the most incredible things will happen. Just try it for 90 days. Just try it. You can always go back to the old ways. Just try it. Just 90 days, 90 days. Okay. That's goal setting. We use it around the world. We recommend it.
The biggest problem on the planet today is fear. It's been a problem for a long time, but it's a huge problem now. It's getting bigger every day. And the reason that fear is a problem, of course, is that it affects everything. Everything we think and say and do, all the decisions and choices we make, all of our reactions, all of our responses, everything that we're experiencing can come from only one of two places. Conversations with God has made that very clear to me. We're either coming from love or we're coming from fear. And my observation is that most people, most of the time, and myself, more than I would like to acknowledge, coming from fear. So we have to look at our fears and find out, what is fear anyway? What is it all about? What are we afraid of? And what impact is it having on the choices and decisions and the creations for which we have made ourselves responsible? By the way, that's one of the first fears that there is, the fear of being responsible, the fear of placing ourselves in a position of responsibility for all that we are creating. So fear is the first aspect of the human experience, as I understand it, that we need to work very hard to heal, and I might even say to transform. You transform fear, and you transform the world. Now let's take a look at what it is that we're afraid of. First of all, as I observe it, we're afraid of life itself and so much that goes on in life. We're afraid of life because we're afraid of death. Conversations with God says that all fear ultimately is a fear of death. If you're not afraid to die, then you're not afraid to live. But how can you not be afraid to die? Well, you cannot be afraid to die if you understand what death is. And as a result of that understanding, you understand what life is. The wonderful book, Home with God in a Life That Never Ends, explains all this in extraordinary detail. It talks about the moment of our death, the process of death itself, and the reason that we're experiencing life as we are on this planet. I would suggest that anybody who wants to know more about this particular subject take a good look at that book. It's very difficult after reading that text to be afraid at any deep level of dying. And when that fear goes away, as I said, then fear of life disappears as well. We're afraid of nothing and no one because, and there's a very good reason why. See, all fear is based on the idea that we need something. That's what fear is, really. You want to know what fear is defined? The definition of fear is the thought that we are not going to be able to have something we think we need. It's as simple as that. The person who doesn't need anything has no fear of anything. When I don't need anything from you, I don't fear you. When I don't even need my own life, in a sense, when I don't think that I need this particular version of life in this particular physical form, then I'm not afraid even if you kill me. Then I really don't need you for anything. I don't even need you to stop killing me. That creates true fearlessness, and most spiritual masters reside in that place, a place of utter fearlessness. So when I begin to look at my own fears and begin to feel them, and when I have an idea that my fears are starting to, how do I say this, overcome me, overpower me almost, paralyze me, because all of us have been paralyzed by fear at one time or another. Some of us more often than we'd like to admit. When I get into that place, I take a close look at what do I think I need? What is it that I think that I need here? Because that's what it is. Fear is need announced. So I look at what am I thinking that I need? And is it possible that I really don't need that? Could I get along without it? What would happen if I didn't have that? What would happen if I didn't receive that? What would happen if what I think I need, I didn't experience or couldn't experience? See, now there are two ways that fear manifests itself. The idea that I will not get what I need, I'm not going to receive that, or the idea that I'm going to lose something that I need. I have it now, but I'm going to lose it. And that's most often presenting itself in human experience, as I observe it, in relationships. It presents itself in other ways as well. We have fears around money, fears around power, fears around health, and many other items, but more often than not, almost all the fears that I see people experiencing have to do with relationships of one kind or another, and especially those delicate relationships that we call romantic intertwinings of the human experience. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. First, I'm afraid that no one's going to love me, and then I'm afraid if somebody does, I'm going to lose the love. And how I solve that, when I do, except when I don't, but how I solve that when I do, how I get into a place of what I want to call spiritual health, is when I understand who I truly am and that I actually don't need the love of another or any other in order to experience who I truly am, in order to experience serenity, peace, joy, happiness. Every time I think that my joy is obtainable, or that I'm sourced with my joy, that my joy comes from someplace outside of myself, I get into fear. Every time I'm clear that the source of my joy does not exist outside of myself, but is given to me, from me, by me, my fear disappears. And here's the irony of that. I then become much more attractive to people, and what I was afraid of, that people would walk away from me, in fact, doesn't happen. The reverse happens. People are attracted to me, because all people are attracted to other people who are firm and strong, not arrogant, but aware, and reside deep inside of themselves, because nobody likes to be needed. Because if I feel that you need me so much, then my next fear will be I can't give you what you need, and that's why I'll lose you, you see. So people who present themselves to the world as serene and peaceful and joyful and innately happy, these are people we say are together, they have it together. These are people who are aware that their happiness, their joy, and their peace comes from within. It's words we hear from every spiritual master. We hear them in all the spiritual books. But that experience is attainable. We can find it. We can go there. And that's, I think, the spiritual journey. That's the path to transformation. That's the movement away from fear. Someone once said to me that there's a great acronym for fear. Feeling excited and ready. Oh, I love that. I had a great teacher say to me one time years ago, call your fears adventure. What a great thought. So I'd like to maybe leave you with that thought for today. Whatever you're afraid of right now, realize a couple of things. One, it's not real. You're making it all up. Two, if the thing that you're afraid would happen actually did happen, you and I would still be here tomorrow. It really would make no difference at all. Unless, of course, you wouldn't be here tomorrow, in which case it absolutely would make no difference at all. Three, If you can call your fears adventure, you'll bring in an energy that will heal the fear, the energy of excitement, the energy of being inspired by life itself. Because life, you see, is a process that informs life about life through the process of life itself. And if you live your life filled with inspiration and excitement, soon there's nothing to be afraid of. And it becomes the great joy it was always intended to be. That's how I see it. That's what my conversations with God told me about fear. I could be wrong, of course, about all of this. But I don't think so.
Sometimes on Sunday at 11 o'clock, there'll be young guys running through the projects with Uzi machine guns and shooting, and you would have to run into your building. In 15 minutes, when they're gone, you come back out and finish playing. It built my character, it built my resolve, it built my strength. It you know, developed a certain paranoia and taught you these values and taught you integrity and taught you honesty. Taught you toughness as well, because you needed that to survive. It was a brilliant upbringing.